Hey, I'm Mark. Get in here. Bell's about to ring. What are you doing? Oh, you know, you're an idiot. Okay, quick. Close the door before somebody walks by. Why? Because I'm a history teacher and I'm about to go rogue. So check this out. One of the reasons why we study history is so that the stories of the past inspire our present. This period, we're going to look at some great historical expositories in film. Wait, why does spell check say that isn't a word? Okay, so you did debate. Is expositories a word? Okay, all right. So we're not looking at historical movies like Waterloo or Tora, or nor are these historical fiction where the story is wrapped around a broader historical event like Titanic or Casablanca. Nor is it some voiceover narration or montage of historical photos to put the story into context. No, we're looking at regular movies with regular folks that somehow have woven an important historical event into the dialogue and how that historical event lends inspiration to the characters and changes the story. We want to be inspired by history. We want to be moved to action by the memories of the past. You know, like when Bluto Blutarski rallies the brothers of Delta House. Was it over when the Germans bombed Pearl Harbor? That is what history does. It changes the way that we perceive our condition. The memories of heroes and villains encourages us to become more than what we are. So let's look at the best uses of historical expository in movies. Let's go rogue. Number 6, Jurassic Park. In Jurassic Park, John Hammond, played by Richard Attenborough, compares the issues with the opening of his new dinosaur theme park with opening day at Disneyland in 1955. You know, Disneyland had all kinds of problems when it first opened. It is true that Disneyland had all kinds of problems on their first day. In the rush to open the park, numerous things went wrong. It was a particularly hot day in Anaheim, and the recently laid asphalt began to melt under the guests' feet. Many of the attractions were not ready to the sadness of most children. Add to that number of counterfeit tickets that were made and others simply jumping over the walls to get into the park, and Disney had a disaster. Cars on Interstate 5 were backed up for miles, and bathrooms that were not designed to handle the number of guests were soon backing up as well. It was not a good day for John Hammond. It was not a good day for Walt Disney. Ian Malcolm, Jeff freaking Goldblum, appreciates what Hammond has to say, but he's compelled to speak the obvious. Yes, but when the Pirates of the Caribbean malfunctioned, the pirates didn't eat the guests. Interesting response by Ian Malcolm, but his timing is a little bit off. Pirates of the Caribbean wasn't added to Disney until 1963. It may have been more historically accurate to say, when the Hall of Presidents malfunctioned, the presidents didn't eat the guests. Not as funny. Number 5, Dr. Strangelove, General Ripper on Clemenceau. In 1964, Stanley Kubrick created the ultimate satire of the Cold War with Dr. Strangelove. The movie was based on a serious novel called Red Alert, but Kubrick saw an opportunity to convert the novel into a dark comedy. When I showed this movie in my AP classes, a few students get the satire right away. Others require detailed explanation. Gentlemen, you can't fight in here. This is the war room. The story begins when General Jack D. Ripper, commander of Bergelsen Air Force Base, sends his B-52 bombers to attack the Soviet Union. The reason? The worldwide communist plot to sap and impurify our precious bodily fluids. To justify his action, he asked Group Captain Leader Lionel Mandrake, a Royal Air Force exchange officer, "Do you remember what Clemenceau said about war, Mandrake? He said that war is too important to be left to the generals. Well, I will tell you, war is too important to be left to the politicians." And so, he sent his B-52s to bomb Russia. No spoiler here, watch it yourself. 90 minutes well spent. Number 4, The Blind Side and the Charge of the Light Brigade. If you've never seen this movie, first of all, shame on you. Back to Russia, you freaking commie. Michael Orr is an African-American football player at a nearly all-white private school in Memphis. At the start of the film, he's homeless, but he's taken in by a wealthy white family. Kind of a real-life version of Different Strokes. I mean, if Arnold was 6'5" and 280 pounds. Word gets out that Michael Oher is a prolific football player, and he's recruited by coaches from all over the South. The problem for Michael is that his previous homelessness has hurt his academics, and he needs an A in his English class to achieve an acceptable GPA for graduation. To receive that grade, he must do an analysis of a classic piece of literature. This is when Sean Toohey starts reciting The Charge of the Light Brigade. Half a league, half a league, half a league onward. Forward the Light Brigade. Alfred Lord Tennyson's Charge of the Light Brigade is literature, but it is based on an actual event during Britain's involvement in the Crimean War. The Light Brigade's commander was given a bogus command to charge a fortified artillery position, which was certain to lead to most of their deaths. Their brigade did not question the command, because ours is not to reason why. But they mounted up and did as commanded, because ours is but to do and die. Michael concludes from Tennyson's poem that it is better to try and fail than not try at all. And rather than return to his old life in the projects, what he knows so well, he will take his chance in college. Number 3, Buckaroo Banzai, the War of the Worlds hoax. Buckaroo Banzai, played by Peter Weller, is a neurosurgeon, astrophysicist, advisor to the president, leader of a rock and roll band, and he's got his own comic book. His associates, analysts, specialists, his backup band, with names like Perfect Tommy and Reno, Nevada, are referred to as the Hong Kong Cavaliers. After traveling through the 8th dimension in his Ford pickup truck, Buckaroo Banzai is empowered with the ability to see a race of evil space aliens that have created a business, a government defense contractor called Yoyodyne. As the Hong Kong Cavaliers are researching, trying to find where Yoyodyne's people are coming from, Dr. New Jersey, played by Jeff Goldblum. Jeff Goldblum again! A 2-time mention on HTGR in one video. That's not as many as Joe Beth Williams, but I might still send him a certificate as well. I'm sure he'll cherish it. So, where were we? Oh, the Hong Kong Cavaliers, looking for these employees of Yoyodyne. They discover a Social Security database showing a group of men that all applied for Social Security, all in Grover's Mill, New Jersey, all on the same date, November 1st, 1938. And they're all named John. John Noland, John O'Connor, John Parrott, John Yaya, John Smallberries, John Big Booty, played by Christopher Lloyd brilliantly. It's Big Booty. Jeff Goldblum, Dr. New Jersey, pieces the puzzle together. Grover's Mill, 1938. Why does that sound familiar? No, wait. October 31st, Halloween. Don't you get it? Orson Welles, Halloween, 1938, War of the Worlds, that fake news broadcast that got everybody thinking that the Martians were landing in Grover's Mill, New Jersey. Then it all just turned out to be a hoax. So maybe it wasn't a hoax, or maybe it isn't a hoax. He theorizes that Wells was hypnotized by the Yoyodyne aliens to deny the whole thing. In the alternate reality of Buckaroo Banzai, the aliens blended into society, headed to work at Yoyodyne, and set the stage for the destruction of the Earth. See the movie on YouTube for $2.99. It's a cult classic, and I highly recommend it. John Lithgow's hilarious. Number 2, Remember the Titans, Coach Boone at Gettysburg Battlefield. The premise of one of the greatest sports movies ever is fairly simple. Desegregate a high school, make black and white student athletes set aside their differences and come together to make a football team. Racial tensions abound. My own personal opinion is that Disney downplayed the racial tension in the South way too much in this film. I suppose they wanted to not open wounds from the past, but things were way worse than the film led on, thus making Coach Herman Boone, played by Denzel Washington, more heroic than Disney allowed him to be, which is too bad. The part of the film, though, made better by history comes while the team is at preseason camp at Gettysburg College. Racial tension is still high among the players, with fights breaking out and apathy for each other. Coach Boone wakes his players up in the middle of the night and takes them on a run. The destination? Anybody know where this place is? This is Gettysburg. This is where they fought the Battle of Gettysburg. 50,000 men died on this field, fighting the same fight that we're still fighting amongst ourselves. This green field right here, painted red, bubbling with the blood of young boys, smoke, hot lead going right through their bodies. Listen to their souls, men. I killed my brother with malice in my heart. Hatred destroyed my family. Listen, take a lesson from the dead. If we don't come together right now on this hallowed ground, we too will be destroyed. Students may study the Battle of Gettysburg in U.S. history and look at numbers like 53,000 killed over 3 days. They may even look up at troop movements and the folly of Pickett's charge and how this was the turning point of the Civil War. But this one speech puts the battle into greater perspective. It gives meaning to the effort to desegregate the South, that none of these shall have died in vain. It puts the movie in perspective as well, that the actions of these young men on the football field would neither be in vain. Number 1, the greatest historical expository in movie history, Jaws, Quint and the USS Indianapolis. Quint, played by Robert Shaw, is a local shark hunter in Amity Beach. Knowing that a shark is still out in the Sound, terrorizing Amity Beach, he's hired to hunt down and kill the shark. Hooper and Police Chief Brody join Quint on his boat, the Orca, to hunt down the shark. In the evening, having not found the beast, the three sit around a table in the ship's living area, comparing scars with drunken, jovial laughs. When Hooper asks him about a scar on his arm, Quint tells the story of his experience as a sailor on the USS Indianapolis. The Indianapolis was on a mission to deliver the atomic bomb to Tinian near the end of World War II. Being a secret mission, no one was aware of the departure of the ship. And upon its return, after delivering its cargo, 2 Japanese torpedoes slammed into the ship and it sank within a few minutes. Survivors of the Indianapolis were in the water for 5 days. And it wasn't long before the sharks appeared. Sometimes that shark looks right into you. The thing about a shark, he's got lifeless eyes, black eyes. When it comes at you, it doesn't seem to be living. Unless he bites you, and those black eyes roll over white. The ocean turns red, and in spite of all the hollering and pounding, they all come in and rip you to pieces. By dawn, we lost 100 men. I don't know how many sharks, maybe 1,000. We lost 6 men an hour. On Thursday morning, I bumped into a friend of mine, Herbie Robinson, from Cleveland, baseball player. I thought he was asleep. I reached over to wake him up. He bobbed up and down in the water, upended. Well, he'd been bitten in half below the waist. On the 5th day, a big PBY come down. That was the time I was most scared, waiting for my turn to be picked up. I'll never put on another life jacket again. So, 1,100 men went into the water, 360 came out, and the sharks took the rest. June 29th, 1945. Anyway, we delivered the bomb. Brilliant use of history to complete the story. Quint's hatred of sharks goes beyond the fact that they kill almost for fun. The mass murder of sailors from the Indianapolis justifies any action he takes against Bruce. The fact that they were American sailors killed during World War II almost makes it his patriotic duty to rid the world of sharks, like ridding the world of fascism once and for all. Well, Quint would be sacrificed in his effort to kill Jaws, but Hooper and Chief Brody finished the job. Or do they? 3 sequels. So, is there a movie you like with awesome, meaningful historical commentary? Let me know in the comments below. These were my favorite 6, and if you like history, I would be honored if you would subscribe to my channel. Check out some of my other videos. I also want to thank my producer, Casey Moulton, her brother Alex, and her sister Avery for helping me out on this video, and Mr. Brent Allen for letting us use his studio here on the campus of Columbia High School. This was fun, but I won't quit my day job. And next time you hear a historical reference in one of your favorite movies, think of me. I'm Mark Haggard. I'm a history teacher, and I've gone rogue.